Hello business stars, this is your business coach with a brand new video on O-Levels Economics Chapter 2, which is known as the factors of production. So without any delay, let's get started. So basically there are 4 factors of production, okay? So what does factors mean and what does production mean? So in order for us to produce something, we need certain things, right? So basically we need 4 things to produce something. And what does production mean? Production means producing something or when converting something from input to an output. So we can remember the factors of production by the word sell, which stands for C for capital, E for enterprise, L for land, and the other one L for is labor, okay? So the first factors of production is land, the second one is labor, the third one is capital, and the fourth one is enterprise. So the 4 factors of production are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. So let's move on to the first factor of production, which is the land. So land includes all the natural resources in the planet. It includes all the renewable and non-renewable resources, all right? That includes forests, seas, hills, waterfalls, or any other piece of land, okay? So let me show you an example of land. Over here, you can see the image of a land, right? And also when writing this answer in your copy, you need to mention natural resources and you need to mention renewable and non-renewable resources, all right? Now let's look at some examples of land. The first example is a forest and the second one is a waterfall, okay? So business stars, let's move on to the second factor of production, which is labor. So labor covers all the mental and physical human effort involved in producing goods and services. So if you look carefully, I have underlined the important words in green color and also I have changed their fonts. So basically this is the number of people available to make products or provide services, and the reward for labor is wages. Okay, we are not going to talk about reward right now. We will talk about this at the end of this chapter. Also, when writing this answer, we need to remember we will be using the word mental and physical human effort. Moving on to some examples of labor would be this one and this one. So business stars, can you tell me which labor falls under the mental category and which one falls under the physical category? Let me know in the comment sections below. Now moving on to the third factor of production, which is the capital. So capital is the finance, which is the money invested in the business. Also, it is the machinery and equipment needed for the manufacture of goods. Examples includes offices, factories, machineries, railway, tools, everything falls under capital, okay? So over here you see that I've invested money in my business and the business is slowly, it's growing, right? So let's look at how we will write this in the exam. Over here, when defining capital, we need to use the word finance, which is the money invested in the business. Basically, it's the money that we're investing in the business, as well as we are buying machineries, equipments to manufacture goods, right? So let's look at some examples of capital, which is the first one you see is a tractor. And over here, the second one is a machine. The third one is also a machine. And paper is being produced by this machine. Moving on to the fourth factor of production, which is the last one but not the least one, is enterprise or entrepreneur. So this is basically the skill and the risk-taking ability of a person who brings the other factors of production together. Okay, so this is the risk-taking ability of a person who's taking the risk in the business. It's basically the owner of the business, right? And also it is the person who is combining the other factors of production together, okay? Now let's talk about the difference between an enterprise and an entrepreneur. Basically, the name of the business is known as the enterprise, okay? The name of the business is known as the enterprise, and basically the owner of the business is known as the entrepreneur. We do not pronounce it entrepreneur or entrepreneur, we pronounce it entrepreneur, okay? So basically, enterprise or entrepreneur is all about the risk-taking ability and also the person who brings the other factors of production together. Okay, what are the factors of production that the entrepreneur brings together? It's the land, the labor, the capital, right? Okay, now to sum up, land includes all the natural resources on the planet. It includes all the renewable and non-renewable resources, whereas labor covers all the mental and physical effort involved in producing goods and services. What about capital? Capital is the finance, it is the money that is invested in the business, and also the machinery and the equipment needed for the manufacture of goods. And enterprise is the risk-taking ability of the person and also the person who is combining or bringing together the other three factors of production. So that is all about the four factors of production. Now we will be moving on to the four rewards of the factor of production. So what do I mean by reward? Reward means gift. When you own these four factors of production, you are going to receive four types of gifts or four types of rewards. Okay, so let's say you are the owner of a land. In return, you will receive rent. Okay, so if you rent it out to someone, in return you are going to receive a rent, which is going to be monthly, of course, right? Except for Airbnbs. And the second reward, which is of labor, is wages. So a labor works, right? And after working, in return, the labor expects wages to run their families, right? And now moving on to the third point, which is the reward for capital. The reward for capital is a bit complicated. And in order to understand this concept, we need to connect it with the concept of opportunity cost. Okay, so let's say we have 10,000 taka in our bank account. If we invest this money in our business, then this will be known as capital, right? This will be invested in the business. But if we don't invest this money, if we keep it in our bank account, then bank in return will give us what? Bank in return will give us interest, which is going to be in every month. So the reward for capital is interest because of the concept of opportunity cost. And the last reward, which is of enterprise, is profit. So when the business owner or the entrepreneur invests money in the business, in return, what do they get? They get profit because they are taking risk in the business, right? So because of that risk, in return, they expect profit. Okay, do not write money. The reward for enterprise is money or income. Do not write the reward for labor is money. You have to be very specific, which is the reward for labor is wages and the reward for enterprise is profit. Okay, the most confusing part is the reward for capital. Remember this by your heart by understanding and connecting with the concept of opportunity cost. So this is it about half of this chapter, and I'll be making the other half of this chapter very soon, inshallah. This is your business coach signing off, guiding you to a business revolution.